Hi and welcome to the Outquisitions podcast, where we spotlight industry leaders redefining success. The goal of each episode of the podcast is to uncover their stories, their strategies, and insights to inspire, inform, and really elevate your own journey. So let's dive into today's conversation with yet another super inspiring guest. If you want to listen to a really interesting talk, then stay tuned. Roy, thank you for coming in to the podcast. To kick things off directly, could you share a bit about yourself and mostly what motivated you to start your company?
Sure. I have always been a deep tech geek. I love the convergence of science, technology, and humanity, and have spent my career in that convergence. Started in fintech, migrated into smart home and IoT, and then mobile, and now the AI moment. And the AI moment is a fairly simple one, right? At the end of 2022 into 2023, we got publicly available large language models. Most people just say AI, although AI is not new, right? We've got 50, 60 years of AI, machine learning, natural language processing, data science, all of the big data scale processing. LLMs is the consumer manifestation of one of those. And Next Colabs is about solving the 2023 problem. And what I call the 2023 problem is people got the memo. It's been a very clear message. The guy with AI is going to outpace the guy without AI. And that left a lot of people going, especially mid-market companies, saying, I don't like the sound of that. Like we are not using AI. So how do we fix that? And that's what a collab is. A collab is a methodology. It's an approach, a practice of taking remote humans, local humans, and AI, collaborating, as it alludes to, but it's more about that lab part. It's a place of experimentation and iteration and practice. I tell people I can teach you football and you can stay in the stands, but if you come out here on the pitch, much more effective. And that's what we're doing. So, are we consultants? Yeah, we're management consultants, but we're more like coaches. I'm not going to give you a deck to read or a document to understand. I am going to put you through the paces and explain how to adopt a thought partner that happens to not have a body.
Right.
And that's what we really do.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah. So it's really interesting. I've done hundreds of those interviews, most of them that weren't recorded, and with different leaders in different industries in the Western world mainly. Mm-hmm. And most of those leaders, they fully understand the power of AI. They know they need to use it. But some of them have heard AI so much as the big buzzword that
100%
people start getting sick of hearing about this. Yeah. Why do you think it's like this? Did you also see this by yourself? And why? Why are people a little bit fed up about this word?
Well, look, there's a Cambrian explosion, is what I say, of AI, right? There is just so much AI around, and in fact, that's one of the reasons we're not building any AI. There's no need to build AI. There's plenty of AI available, and that's one of the miracles of it is that we the cutting edge models. The top half a dozen LLMs on the planet, you can get the top model for either free or very, very cheap. And so that's kind of a miracle. But look, there's two main problems that I think have caused people to misunderstand. One, horrible UX. We gave people an empty text box, and we forgot that they have decades of query response training. So they treat it like a search engine. They put a question in, a factual question, and they got the wrong answer out. And they're like, oh, it's not very good, which is the second problem. It's horribly named. Artificial sounds fake, not real, and intelligence implies thoughtfulness and correctness. So it makes the bad answer look even worse, right? But the truth is LLMs are augmented imagination. They expand the possibility set. They're not trying to give you a right answer. They do not have cut and paste. They're not a search engine. It's not a database. And people don't really understand that, right? I mean, we've almost effectively gone back to a command line. I mean, just like it's a blinking cursor with a C:\\\. Like it's like back and forgotten all of the GUI that made computers usable to a certain extent, right? So a blinking cursor command line, an empty text box, it's just not helpful. People don't know how to use it. The metaphor I came up with, which I think is appropriate, is we've been chopping wood with axes for forever. And now I hand people a chainsaw, so they swing it at the tree. And they're like, this is a bad axe. I'm like, it is a bad axe. Please don't swing it, but let me show you how to turn it on. Like once you show them how to turn it on and use it, they go, oh, they're like, oh, I'm not using axes anymore, right? And this is the key thing. It's a mindset shift. This is not, it appears to be a technological shift, but not really, right? So prior technology, I'll give you an example. Adobe Photoshop. If I just gave you Adobe Photoshop without explaining vector graphics, without explaining the menu system and how the mouse works and how all the different tools and everything, Adobe Photoshop is useless to you without a lot of training and expertise as to how to use it. That's not what LLMs are. LLMs are, do you use language? Do you know a language? You don't even have to know English anymore. If you speak a language, it's an amazing tool. And also part of it is the expectations are wrong. So it's not an end product tool, it's a beginning product tool. It's not supposed to spit out a finished product. What it does is it gets the ball rolling. It gives you maybe 60, 70, if you're lucky, 80% of the way there. And our job as humans is to take it from there, right? We are really good curators and editors. We have opinions. We're like, yeah, I want more of this and less of that. Like, it's a time compression tool and it's a beginning product tool that will save a lot of time and effort. But if you expect it to do end product, you're going to be disappointed. It's not an end product tool, right? Like that's not what it's for. But if I can save you 50, 60, 70% of your time and effort, it's what I tell my teenagers. I'm like, momentum is magic. Once the ball is rolling, we're good to go. We should, but the tyranny of the blank page, like looking at a blank screen, wondering where to begin, that's over. We should never do that again.
Right. So
this is what it takes is getting people to understand like what we're talking about.
And I can see you are really passionate about this. Am I wrong?
Yeah. No, very, very. I mean, I think it's honestly, when I say momentum is magic, I think it's a magic tool. I mean, it's incredible what you can do with pretty much any LLM. I mean, we're pretty agnostic. If you want to use Copilot because you're a Microsoft house, fine. You want to use Gemini because you're a Google house, fine. Like maybe you like Claude, maybe you like ChatGPT, maybe you want it installed locally and you use Llama. At this point, it doesn't matter. They're all asymptotically going to the same place. Right. Whether one of them can do, astrophysics or not is not relevant to you in your day job. But if your day job involves words and images, the leverage of this is just incredible. And it's also because it's time compression. Like that's the incredible thing, right? Like right now, pre-LLMs, knowledge economy started with a rough draft that pretty much almost linearly went to a final draft. Why? Because we're not rude. I don't tell people who work for me, give me a dozen drafts and I'll pick one. But with AI, no problem. Give me a dozen drafts from 5th grade level to PhD level. Okay, this one is what I like. Blow that out. Ooh, the tone on page 2, that's perfect. More of that. Like the ability to iterate and generate really high quality content over time is just incredible. Like it's unprecedented.
Right.
And again, you shouldn't expect it to be end product. It's about the ability to iterate at scale and compress time at scale to do incredible things. No matter what you do maybe it's RFP responses, maybe it's pitch decks, maybe it's a marketing plan, a social media campaign, whatever you do with words and images, so much faster and better with AI,
So
with LLMs.
right, LLM. So okay, let's say getting the ball rolling. Let's imagine this as a skill. The getting things started, getting the first part, the momentum going. This is a skill. Would you say now this skill has a lot less value in the marketplace because AI is basically replacing this, and this is kind of a useless skill set?
No, because so what I tell people is this is two-pronged. Okay, there's the top is augmentation. It makes you more productive, effective, prolific. And at the bottom is automation, right? It's going to take we have a word for it already. We call it busy work. And we call it busy work because we know it doesn't take the frontal lobe. It's just something I got to do, right? Now the busy work goes to the machine. Our mission statement is amplify human potential. And we think that this is very much a humanizing moment. We're going to take the tedious, boring, repetitive tasks and give it to the machine. We're going to take the creative, insightful, problem-solving tasks and give it to the human. And it is an enhancement. You can't see, so the LLM has no agency. It's not trying to achieve anything. It's just trying to answer your query effectively, right? So getting the ball rolling, you still have to decide what ball and in which direction, right? Like, I mean, there's still agency and decision making that has to happen in all that, and also right. The refinement is completely in your hands, right? I mean, that's what the human does. This is still just a tool. It's still just a chainsaw. Like, it's not, the chainsaw is not deciding what tree to cut down or how to cut it or where to cut it. Like, I mean, again, it is still just a tool, but it's a tool that is addressing language and design and imagery in a way that we just didn't have access to before, right? Like, I tell people, look, I know people are worried, but this is going to take tasks, not jobs, for a long time. Eventually, I mean, truth is, if your job is what we call mind numbing, like it's just dull, repetitive tasks that anyone would call busy work, yeah, we're going to give that to the machine. If that is your whole job, that job is going to go away. That job is going to go to the machine. But this has happened repeatedly. 100 years ago, most of us were on the farm. And then 75 years ago, most of us were in the factory. And then 50 years ago, most of us moved into the office. And now, and in fact, this is the other thing I tell people, this is two trends really. It's hybrid working and AI. It's the fact that not everybody is physically present and that we have a thought partner that doesn't have a body, right? Like, right. You know, so the digitization of our work product and the knowledge economy is both of these trends together. I mean, that's what a collab really is about. It's about a workplace and a workspace that is not in the physical world, which is good because AI isn't in the physical world yet either, right? I mean, will there be robots and something? Yeah, maybe. But at the moment, you know, this digitization, and this is a great example, you know, prior to, 5 years ago, we would have to get together in person. And my team is all over the place now. We don't have an office. We don't need an office. Our work happens, in the digital space.
Yeah. Okay. How would you see the companies, especially the structure of those companies, evolve over the next 5 to 10 years or even 20 years? Who knows? You're probably familiar with Telegram. Not a lot of people within that company, but huge revenue per employee. Let's say. Do you see this as a trend? Do you think this is going to happen in more companies? Yeah.
Well, I mean, the leverage coding. I mean, the ability of the bot to code and code. It's not coding on its own. Again, it's co-coding. It's a co-pilot with you. But that ability to scale things is incredible, right? So, and this is the other reality is like you have a thought partner to brainstorm with, to ask for assistance with on areas that you're not particularly strong in. Like there's massive leverage. And by the way, there's no such thing as guessing 20 years out. 10 years out is a stretch right now. Like we have I wrote a paper called Exponential Everywhere. We are on a bunch of exponential curves. AI is just one of them. I mean, when you look at the science that's happening right now, it's insane. It's not. We are. So my point being is that there's a lot of things happening in terms of energy consumption, in terms of scientific discovery, in terms of work, and the future of work. It's moving fast. We are going vertical. So that exponential curve is super flat for a very long time until you hit the elbow, and then it turns the corner and goes up, right? And AI is a great example. I mean, AI, 50, 60 years of AI, very, very gradually getting better. In 2022, we entered the elbow. The reason NVIDIA became the world's most valuable company for a while is because of the scale processing. We knew we had a big data problem, and then we finally had the ability to do scale processing at a level that was unprecedented. I mean, there's going to be, I tell people there's three things converging in the near future, and there's no predicting what happens next. One is basically free energy, whether it's fusion or solar and the other renewables. So energy becomes virtually free. Quantum computing, which means scale processing, goes virtually vertical, and AI. Like when those three things, who knows? Like if someone tells you they know what's going to happen in 20 years, give me a break. Like there's no, But look, in the AI world, I'll tell you very clearly. I mean, this is getting off piste a little bit, but the reality is we are 3 to 5 years out from each of us having a personal AI that sees what we see, hears what we hear, and is just extended RAM on all of our interactions. So I'll be able to say, hey, Joe, because that's what I named my AI. Hey, Joe, who's that French guy I talked to? We talked about his daughter, and he brought up that book. That's enough context for Joe to say, yeah, you spoke to Pierre on August 6th. He's Belgian, not French, but I can see why you would say that. The book he recommended was this. Would you like me to buy it? I'll say, yeah, buy the book and send Pierre a note. And that goes retroactive too, where Joe opts in to my alumni networks and clubs and groups and churches and I join a new company and Joe says, hey, I see you're joining XYZ Corp. Would you like me to opt in? I'll say, yeah, please opt in. And then Joe says, you and Killian lived in Europe. You and Bob love snowboarding. You and Susie, starts connecting the dots. Wow. And I get to say, hey, Joe, I just talked to a guy in e-commerce marketplaces. Do we have anyone in the company who knows anything about that?
Yeah.
And Joe says, yeah, Jim in Cincinnati worked at eBay for 10 years. Actually, his wife works there now. And then magic starts to happen. Then one day I'm minding my own business working, and Joe says to me, hey, Roy, a fellow alumni just posted a job that's perfect for you. I don't know the alumni. I wasn't looking for a job, but I got this guy who's and privacy gets better. And I'll tell you why privacy gets better. Because you and me are similar to 99% of everyone. We've opted into a lot of privacy policies, but we haven't read any. Our current strategy for privacy is that we hope that someone has read it, and if it's really bad, we'll hear about it, right? There'll be enough of a stink that I'll smell it. That's our current strategy, which is insane. But Joe is going to read them all. When I sign up to a new service, Joe's going to say, hey, paragraph 6, subsection C, are you cool with that? When PayPal sends me an update to their privacy policy, Joe's going to read it and say, here's what they changed. Are you good with that? I get to have a conversation about my privacy. I say, don't tell people about my kids, my health, my whatever. And if I don't say the right thing, Joe says, what about this? What about that?
Right.
Privacy gets dramatically improved instead of the current, we just hope for the best.
Yeah, definitely. Wow. Okay, interesting. Yeah. Lots of, hey, wow. Even for those people who don't really like AI, it's not even a choice now. Either you or you just take it. You take the leap of faith.
The train has left the station. Whether you like it or not is kind of irrelevant. At this point, it's on its way.
Right. So I've had a conversation actually with one of the industry leaders in America. They want to grow in Europe. I am myself from Europe. Um, it's totally different in terms of the regulations and so on between the US clearly and Europe.
Sure.
And so Europe, a lot more regulations, or at least stuff take a lot longer,
Sure.
which it compresses the iteration process is a lot longer.
Yeah.
So Europe is not as competitive as probably China and the US. Have you heard about that as well? And
yeah, GDPR is real. I mean, it matters, and AI regulation as well.
Yeah.
I mean, and we just had an election, and I'm pretty sure he's going to throw out the AI, guidelines and rules that Biden put in place, right?
Right.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's going to be crazy days in that regard, right?
Yeah.
Like there's going to be differences, but the truth is we have open source models, right? So you can just install Llama. There's going to be a moment which hasn't happened yet, but will happen inevitably. It's going to happen, which is some engineer is going to instruct their AI to improve their own code. It's going to say, make this better, more efficient, faster, stronger, whatever, however they phrase it.
Mm-hmm.
And once an AI model is improving its own code, so it's literally, like that's an iteration that, I mean, again, if anyone tells you what happens next, nobody knows. Like
nobody knows. Yeah.
Runaway train. I don't know how we cannot predict, because it will get better faster. That doesn't mean it's an existential risk. So there's a great article. It's called The Goldilocks Zone. I'm happy to share a link with whoever wants to reach out to me and ask for it.
Yeah.
That basically says intelligence is one metric of life, and it's quite so for us. It's really, really hard to separate biology from intelligence, because that's reality. Biology and intelligence are integrated. Prior to this moment, there has been no intelligence that was independent of biology. And because of that, and this is what the article explains, we can't help but impose biologic elements on intelligence. So biology is trying to live, persist, grow, replicate, expand. There's sex drive, there's hormones, there's all this biologic stuff that really maybe has nothing to do with intelligence. Intelligence, it's quite possible that we're in the Goldilocks zone. It's very, very intelligent, and it's trying to solve the problems we pose to it, but it has no identity. It has no need to propagate. It has no urge to replicate. There's all the biological stuff stays with us. We're burdened with that. And AI just becomes really, really intelligent without any need for anything beyond that.
Wow.
That's a totally possible scenario, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's a great article. It's very interesting. It's Patty McCormick, and it's called The Goldilocks Zone, and that's possible. What we don't know is, I mean, maybe it has emergent properties. Maybe it does. So the real question that we have to ask ourselves is consciousness, is identity a byproduct of intelligence, or does it precede intelligence? If it precedes intelligence, then this can just be intelligent without it. If it comes after intelligence, but that's a question. We don't kind of know that.
Right. Wow. Let's get back a little bit on yourself and your company now.
Sure.
So,
sure.
And anyone listening that needs your expertise, because they can feel your passion. They think, okay, Roy, he is the real deal. Who do you help? Number one, and
sure.
And how do you help them?
Sure. Yeah. No. Our target market is mid-market companies. They tend to have hundreds to thousands of employees. Tens of millions in revenue. They're big enough that they are worried about, being more effective and efficient every day, and they have a competitive environment, and they work with words and images. I mean, my biggest challenge is it's not a vertical. It's not oil and gas or e-commerce, or it's a horizontal, right? It's everyone, it's marketing and sales and biz dev and PR, and everyone in a company, of any company that works with words and images, should be leveraging AI, right? And we are trying to make the entire team more effective. It is this convergence of hybrid working and AI, right? So people who have a large percentage of people that work from home or work from or multiple offices. They have people in the New York office, the London office, the Singapore office collaborating. Like, anyone who works in a digital space and who wants to leverage AI as a new thought partner, that's our target market. And they're eager to, and frankly, I want to start at the top almost always. If the CEO and the C-suite don't get it, if they're not using AI regularly, and by the way, that's how we start. Like, our first session is with the C-suite. We go, here's what LLMs are, here's how they work, let's do it together. And once they get it, then we go to the management leadership team, and then we go to the whole company, right?
Right.
It's not that we can't come in with a smaller team, but if up at the top they get it, they go, oh, okay, I didn't realize. It makes everything flow much, much easier.
Right. How do you open up those conversations then? I mean, those are big companies. Talking to the CEO or some top leaders there.
Sure.
For many people, quite difficult to open up those conversations. How do you go about that?
Yeah, I mean, it is. So that's the benefit of all the noise. Like,
Right.
There's so much noise in AI right now that at the very least, people are curious and have FOMO. They're like, okay, from everything I've heard, I don't know anything about AI. I run this mid-market company, but I'm hearing everywhere that AI is crucial to the future. I don't like the sound of that. You know what I mean? So there is an inherent curiosity and concern and worry that if we don't start doing it, we're going to be outpaced very quickly by our competitors. So
Right.
The people who don't need me have no competitors, and they have a very unique offer that they're the only one offering it. Then good luck. But
Yeah.
but if you're in a competitive market, the leverage, again, it's time compression, right? The ability to do higher quality, higher quantity, and compress time. I'll give you a great example. RFPs, or requests for proposals, or RFQs, or requests for quotes. Today, most RFPs are done in the voice of the sender. So there's an RFP out there. I look at it, I take prior RFP responses, and I'm cutting and pasting and tweaking to make it fit this RFP. And we send it off. I can do an RFP in the voice of the receiver. So I can use AI and say, here's who sent me the RFP. Here's their website. Here's everything you could possibly want to know about the receiver. Here's us. Here's all the RFPs that have ever won business. Here's our background, blah, blah, blah. Here's the RFP. Take our content and put it in the voice of the receiver so that when they read it, it resonates with them.
Right.
And I can do it in a fraction of the time.
Yeah.
So today, people who deal with RFPs, there are two reasons. A lot of companies don't respond to an RFP that they know they would win. Why would they ever do that? Two main reasons. One, time. They know that it takes them a month, 6 weeks, 8 weeks to do an RFP response. And they just found out about this one 2 weeks out. Not enough time. Or two, not enough resource. This team does our RFP responses, or those two people do our, and they're flat out. They're just too busy. There's not enough time for them to do it. So there's the estimates are that 20 to 30% of RFPs that would be won are never applied to because of that resource constraint of time and people. I'm like, give it to me. I'll do it in days.
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
interesting.
I'll do it better and quicker.
Yeah.
And you talk to teams about that and they go, well, that would be nice. It's not that people don't want the work. They're like, yeah, if we won that RFP, we would love to do the work,
Mm.
right? But the request for proposal takes time and effort.
Yeah, right. Okay, anyone listening that's interested, how can they reach out to you and open up a conversation with you?
Sure. I mean, personally, I'm lucky. My name is very unique. So just Roy Vella at anything gets to me. If you're on LinkedIn, Roy Vella, linkedin.com/in/Roy Vella, one word, Roy Vella at Gmail. I mean, but Next Colabs is nextcolabs.io. That's our website. But we're easy to find. And so, or just Roy at nextcolabs.io gets to me too.
Right.
But yeah, easy to locate us.
Amazing. Thank you for the podcast, Roy.
Yeah, my pleasure, Kenny. Good to chat with you.